Greetings. We're back. I wanted to get this one out of the way because I've been sitting on this one for 2 weeks, and I might as well, do it now. It's no better time than doing it, just doing it now. So, I'm gonna call this one the season of singleness, and this is something that I wrote down in my journal a couple weeks ago, and I was gonna share it with everybody, so I'm gonna do it now. This channel may be a little unorthodox for some people because, like, yes, I'm a reader, but I'm not just exclusively just here just to be reading and stuff like that. I'm being guided to come out more and share my story. I'm being guided more to, I wouldn't say teach, but just share some, share some things, some wisdoms and stuff like that I'm divinely given to share with y'all, because not everything I get I feel led to share personally. I don't feel like I should, but I wanted to talk about singleness because this is one of the things that I struggle a lot with, and it's because of how my whole spiritual journey started. I can go deeper into that as far as just my whole entire life in general. Relationships have been, not just romantic ones, but just relationships with people in my life have been one of the biggest lessons. And everyone is a mirror to us. And I had this strange, I bounced all over the place, by the way, you guys, for those of you that are just like new to my channel. I'm very unorthodox. I do not claim to be like, oh, I'm awoke, conscious. Not saying that I'm not spiritually aware, but I don't like to subscribe to labels and all that. I don't get into all that narcissistic, preachy stuff and debates and all that. I'm just here to share and share what I get with y'all openly and vulnerability, because it helps me to heal, because I have issues with vulnerability. That is one of my issues. And I can admit that. So, what Spirit was showing me with my connections with people, specifically when it comes to love, because I had a heavy codependency on people, whether it was friends, whether it was family, whether it was love interest. It was a heavy codependency upon needing their validation, needing them to be there for me, and I would make people that I love a priority over myself all the time, in a way. Like, if you were my best friend, you were my ace, I might not even have other friends because I wanted just to prove the loyalty to you. Or when I would get in a relationship, and this is not healthy, but I would be like that. Like, if I was dating somebody, I would like cut friends off and just kind of just exclude and just exclude myself. Not exclude, what's the right word? Seclude myself and just be fucking codependent up under someone and losing myself. So Spirit used this whole twin flame stuff. Shit, how long has it been? As long as I can remember. Let's say 6 years I knew about it. And at the time, I didn't know what the label was. I only knew about soulmates because that was such a thrown around word that people had. Oh, this is my soulmate. He's my soulmate. She's my soulmate. Like, it was thrown around. So when I was going through my awakening in 2012, back in 2012, I was going through a heavy transition. I went through a breakup. I lost my apartment. I lost my job in like a span of less than a year. Like, probably within, I want to say, probably 3 months or 4 months. Everything was like boom, 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 boom. I went through breakup first. I had to leave a toxic situation alone, so I broke it off with that person. Then after that, I couldn't deal with the job I was at anymore. I was like shutting down, like I can't do this no more. So I stopped going and I lost my job, lost my apartment as a result of it. I was not being responsible. But I went through so many transitions in that short period of time. And when I was going through that awakening, I had an experience or an encounter with someone that I was, thinking that it was something more than what it was at the time. And when I look back at all of my connections I had after my awakening. And this is one thing that I wanted to say, because this came to me. It came to me yesterday or Saturday. Today's Monday, technically. It's 12 o'clock in the morning. This came to me, and I was thinking about the whole soulmates and twin flame stuff, and I said to myself, like, we have to be careful with this, because when we come to our spiritual awakening, we are aware of, spiritual things, and we are aware of connections and stuff like that. We start to, in our baby stage within our journey, it's easy for us to equate every connection as something, because we felt a connection with someone that we've never felt. And I won't say because we've never felt it, it's because of our spiritual awareness of these connections, and it makes it a little heightened because you're aware now of things, so you're more sensitive to energy. So when you're vibing with a person, because when you were asleep or just not aware of yourself spiritually, you didn't really pay attention like that. So you're vibing with people, and it's like, oh, I'm vibing with this person because my senses aren't heightened spiritually. So I feel like it's something going on here. And now I'm starting to see phenomenons. I'm starting to see numbers. I'm starting to see this. And you start to see how you're manifesting and how you're creating. And I feel like those signs of synchronicities I were getting, they weren't fake. They were real. But it was guiding me down a path. I was being led that whole entire time with that first connection that I was aware of. The first connection I felt most aware of at the time. I was being led down this journey, down this rabbit hole, if you will. And when you're getting signs of synchronicities, what I learned now is to always ask Spirit, what does this mean? You have a little more of a better understanding the further you go on your journey, but in the beginning, it always helps to ask Spirit, why am I seeing this number? Or why am I seeing this person's name? Or why am I having dreams about this person? Rather than jumping the gun and saying, oh, I feel a connection. Because not only that, you got to think about infatuation, you got to think about lust, and you got to think about your desire to be in a relationship. You got to keep all of those things into consideration, and also understand where you're at. Make sure that you're not projecting yourself onto somebody else, projecting your desires onto another person, and make sure that it's really divinely led, because these connections, we call them, are divine, right? Divine has to be in them. There has to be a higher power that's guiding this. It's not you doing it. It's not your ego. It's not another person doing it. Spirit's doing it. And if it's being repelled, it's most likely because it's not divine's hand in it. It's our force trying to make it be that. So I had to learn that with connections with a few people. Spirit showed me something today with these connections. I found myself in each and every one of those motherfuckers. Every single one of them. Like the first one I just talked about, they're like crazy and out there and like fuck it, this is who I am. And at that time, as I was learning more about myself, I was attracted to that because that was something within me that was dormant, that wanted to come out, to be like, fuck it, this is who I am, and just live my life and just do this and such. So that I was attracted to that energy. I had to understand that, because if I really looked at it, that person and I were not good for each other. We were not a match on a higher vibrational level. The fuck boy and the masculine divine cloak, I don't remember that one. I remember it vaguely, but I don't remember what I said though. Pretty much I thought that, and then it was a couple more, but they all played a significant role in my life if I really look at it from that perspective. And I've seen different aspects of myself in these people, things about the good and the bad about myself, and it helped me to understand everything, because I was struggling with this. So this whole entire time, I've been single maybe 7 now. So no, go back to, I have dibbled and dabbled and dealt with in between, but it never ever goes anywhere. And it's because I was trying to be outside of my time. Like it was not my time, but I don't believe that there's a such thing of mistakes. So even when I was, able to slip up with somebody, I call it a slip up, but let's say that, I still saw that I was not ready, and it just helped me to further understand what wounds were still there, what lessons I still needed to learn within myself. So, I was dating before my time. So I've been single since 2012 when I broke it off with my daughter's father. I've been single ever since then. I've dated in between time, but it was never anything that was real concrete or long term. So I cut people off cold turkey, just cut it all off. I've had encounters. I've had an encounter. I will say that I'm still on, divine. I know that what God has for me. Let's put it that way. I know what God has for me. I know what God has shown me. I know what I'm manifesting. What's manifesting in my life, my destiny. Let's say that. I know what that is. But where I'm at right now is where Spirit's putting me. It's kind of like in a little bubble. And it's very frustrating because it's like, okay, well, Spirit, you shown me something. So why isn't it manifesting? Why isn't nothing happening? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to put myself out there? Do you want me to do this? I've done this. I've done that. It's not working. Nothing's working. So what am I supposed to do? And if you're in that state, that means you should just be present, be centered, and do fucking nothing. And that's where I'm at. Because I was frustrated. I'm like, Spirit, if you have somebody with me and you show me this and show me that, like, why isn't anything happening? Why isn't there any movement? What am I doing wrong? Like, it's very frustrating. So I'm learning how to balance out this energy. And I can't speak for everybody because I do believe that when you're single, you still have, the opportunity to date and see what it's about. Some people, it's just like they're not meant to date, and we can tend to think, and if you identify with that, you can tend to think that, or I guess on both ends, because if you're dating and you feel like you have not met the one people and you feel like there's something wrong with you, right? You can feel like this person, like, there's something wrong with me, I can't find anybody, or nobody's vibing with me. For me, it's like, I don't want to put this out there. I do not want to do that. I don't want to put that on my life. But I have in the past attracted people that were always like crazy about me, and I just was not into them. And I'm like, why does it always got to be like that? Or I'll be heavily into somebody and it just won't happen. But I won't say that that's all the time, because I have experienced a connection where it is weird. It's crazy. It's not the same. It's not what I've experienced before. I don't want to label anything, so I have to be careful with that. But I've experienced a connection where it is very spiritual. It's not anything that I'm trying to force or make happen. I do what I feel like I'm led to do, but I just kind of take a step back because it may not be time for that to happen, or it may not be anything that I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm trusting what Spirit is saying and just being present and sitting the fuck down and doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now. But other than that, you can think that something wrong with me, I'm such and such age and I have not had a stable relationship, or I can't find anybody, or people are afraid to talk to me, or are they afraid to talk to me, or is it because I'm just not attractive? Like, you start thinking all this crazy shit. But I would advise you to go within and ask your spiritual team, why am I in this position and what am I supposed to do? Because sometimes it's not that you're doing anything wrong. I don't feel like it's that we do anything wrong. It's just understanding where you are. And a lot of times it's because you have not completed your work. Especially, you got to be careful what you ask for, because if you're asking for a divine connection, you got to be in a high vibration to manifest that. So if you still struggle with insecurity, you still deal with jealousy, you still are wounded over what an ex did to you, or you got daddy issues, and you have issues with being open, and these are the things that I struggle with, or I'm currently releasing and healing. When you deal with that stuff, you're asking for something that you're not ready for, in essence, because it's like, yes, we would like to have it today, but in essence, you really wouldn't want anything before it's divine time, before you're really capable and ready, because if you did, prematurely going into something that is supposed to be divine and healthy, but you're not healthy, or it may be somebody that's for you, and maybe they're not ready either, but you want them in that energy, it's not going to work. People are I've noticed this, like this spiritual stuff, this law of attraction and manifesting, oh, I'm a god, I'm a creator. it's got people so, like, it's a lack of humbleness, and it's like very pompous. And I was in all of that type of mindset that, oh, if I just manifest, I can manifest whatever I want. Yes, we can manifest whatever we want, but again, it's all about vibration. You got to be in alignment with the vibration that you're trying to manifest. You can't be in a low vibration trying to manifest something high. So people, oh, I want to manifest the right guy in such and such time, and people hate the word patience, and the word patience triggers me from time to time too, because it's like, I want what I want now, and I would like for this to happen. Or people be like, oh, I want to be in union with such and such, or I want to be married by such and such time frame. But if you're not ready, it's better to manifest something in its divine time. Divine timing could be tomorrow for some of you. Divine timing could be a year or a month from now. It doesn't have to be prolonged in what we think. Our human mind has a concept of time. Our higher self does not. There's a lot that can happen within a month, and you could meet the love of your life tomorrow because you healed something an hour ago. You never know. So the concept of time is like, it doesn't really matter. And another thing with that too is I'm learning to accept that and say to myself, I don't want anything that is not ready for me, or I'm not ready for it yet. Like, I don't want to repeat the same cycles again. I've healed too much to repeat the same cycles just to say I don't want to be by myself. And if that's the key, oh, I don't want to be alone, that's something that needs to be healed too. Like, why can't you enjoy being in your, alone is not a bad word. Loneliness is a lower vibrational word, but alone just means you're just with yourself. You're within you. So it's also learning how to be comfortable with yourself, be in the presence of yourself. A lot of times people jump in and out of relationships. They don't give themselves time to heal. That time to heal, they don't give themselves time to understand where they are. What just happened. It's like they're immediately looking for the next man or woman to come in. They don't give their bodies time to heal, because it's like we just taking in all kinds of energies, like, and we have, as humans, we got needs. Yeah, we got needs, but it's all about intention. It's all about where you are with yourself. It's all about that inner knowing and inner understanding of you and what your true needs are and your intentions are. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? And also taking accountability, because if you're someone that's not healed and you're getting into a relationship, essentially you're adding karma to yourself, and then you're adding karma and creating soul ties with another person, and you're adding on to them, and you're becoming a burden to them, they're becoming a burden to you. Y'all sleeping together and y'all exchanging energies with each other in that confusion, in that woundedness, and maybe they're not cleansed from their ex, and you're taking on the ex's energy, and you fucking whacked out and crazy and emotional. They're fucking angry and whacked out. Like, gotta take accountability. When you get to a certain level, there's levels to the shit, and I understand why spirit blocks things, because sometimes in my ignorance I'd be like, well, why can't I just, and I have to thank God or the universe or whatever, the creator, that which loves me and protects me. I gotta thank them, because in my ignorance I could be aligning myself with stuff that I can't easily clear off, and I've done too much work to even align with that. So it's not an insult when you go somewhere and not everybody's trying to holler at you, and it might be that spirit, like, something about your energy could actually be radiating to stay the fuck away from this person, not in a bad way, but like, oh, it could be. I have to think about it that way. It's an energy. It's an energy of protection. So it's not a punishment to be single, you guys. And if for those of you that resonate with the whole twin flame stuff, again, this is a journey of where you have to become one and whole with yourself. There's no other way around it. I keep telling people, y'all think that this is like some little quick, cute little fantasy stuff. It requires work. And I'm sure anybody that's ever been in a divine connection or is currently with someone, they will tell you that it was not them that forced it or controlled it. It was God, or it was the universe that brought it to be. They probably told you that they had to work on themselves. They had to become whole with themselves. They had to be comfortable and secure with where they are in their journey to align themselves with what's for them. And we have to remind ourselves, as much as we may want something specifically to happen, or we may want a specific person, if it's not meant to be with them, then that's a good thing, because that means there's someone else that is for you. It may not be what you want, but the thing is, when it does come to you, it will be what you want and much more. So you have to remind yourself of that too. It's not a curse to be single. Of course, our free will plays a role in everything. You have free will. You are essentially a divine creator. You are an extension of God. So yes, you can manifest certain things, but I feel like we all have some type of divine will over our life. As these human fleshly beings, we don't have all the insights and ins and outs. There's a higher force within us that can oversee things far than what our human mind can perceive. So it's like we also got to take into consideration to be guided and be led. That we don't have to do all of this by ourselves. Like, we're being divinely guided on our journeys, period. Whether that be with love, whether that be with career, whether that be with health, anything. We're always divinely guided. So yeah, so after these, like, leaping into all of these unnecessary relationships, and I said that to myself too, like, I know how I am, and I know what I'm looking for. So if I lie to myself and say, oh, I'm just gonna date a guy just because I'm bored, or because, you know, I have those moments where, you know, you get a little, you know, a little spicy, and you're just like, well, I'm just gonna do that and leave it at that. And like, me personally, I don't know about y'all. There's some women or some guys, I mean, women, let's talk women, because men, it's a little easier for them to just hit it and quit it and be like, I just needed to get it off. And for some women, it's the same thing, but mostly because we're emotional, we are divine portals. We take energy in, we get attached. So, and we start confusing ourselves, and it goes back to the whole, it goes back to the whole taking on energies that's not yours. Like, that dude you just slept with could have just slept with a chick last night, and she could have slept with somebody else, and you're taking on all these other people's energies, and she could have been in a bad mood, or she could be fucking crazy, and he could be fucking crazy, and you just took on their fucking energy, and now you're tripping, you're crying, you don't understand why you mad, you don't understand why your day is fucked up. It's spiritual accountability. Again, you don't want to create unnecessary drama, and that's why I say to myself, like, yeah, I might want to mate, but I sleep better at night, not crying and worried about something. Like, I sleep better. So, yes, it's challenging, but the good thing about this singleness is that you learn a lot about yourself on a core level. You get to spend time with yourself. You get to understand what your wants and your needs are. You get to heal. You get to further see what it is that you want. You get to look back at all of your circumstances, situations, once you clear it out. And this is another thing too, like, back in the day, I don't know, like, whenever you wanted somebody so bad, like, you might have wanted a guy so bad, or you might have wanted a woman so bad, and then when you think about that person, and it's just like, what the fuck did I even see in you? They could still be looking good or whatever, but it's still like, it's not there anymore. That veil is released and removed, because a lot of times when we're attracted to things and people, it's not always coming from our core truth. It's not coming from our higher self. Because divine connections are not about, oh, what this person looks like, what their status is, how fat their ass is, or whatever y'all, what we be looking at and stuff like that. It's not about all of that. It's like, so the more you mature, that stuff doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't mean a thing, matter of fact. So when you have a divine connection, you could be drawn to somebody you would never be drawn to before, or a circumstance that may not fit yours. It may be a circumstance that requires you to come higher and come out of your comfort zone. This person could be of a different nationality. This person could have different spiritual beliefs than you. They could be of a different class than you, or live in another country. It's something that is meant to expand you as a person. It triggers different things in you. Again, they may not be what you're looking for, and it doesn't mean that you will not be attracted to this person, because I don't believe that the universe will fuck you up to be like, oh, I'm gonna just send you, somebody that you wouldn't want to, hit it 10 times, that's doing too much. But you know what I mean. Spirit's not going to do that to you, because what you're attracted to is the soul. So what you're going to see, you're going to be magnetically drawn to that person because it's a divine connection. It's a soul connection. It's not a fleshly thing. So we got to exclude that. And it's okay, like I said, it's okay to, be attracted to people, but make sure that it's not just based off of that or based off of circumstance. Oh, because we both like football or some dumb shit like that, or we've been friends for 10 years, so we might as well just be together. We have a baby together. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be divine's handed. It's got to be something that brings us together, that you're not in control and forcing it and trying to make it be. Like, it's a vibe, it's energy, it just happens. So that's one of the things. Divine timing, back to divine timing is everything for your life. You can't go wrong with divine timing. When you're in the presence of the divine and divine order and divine guidance, everything aligns up the way that it's supposed to happen. So it saves us frustration, because I have issues with control. I don't know about y'all. A lot of people that I have read for, they have these issues where they want to put their hand in and go out and try to manifest a union or manifest a connection, or whatever it could be. Shh. Um, like, we try to force and control something to happen before it's time, and to save ourselves the frustration and trouble, because there's been many times where I try to do something to push something to happen before it's time. Like, oh, I'll just go here, and you'll be disappointed every time. And it's also teaching us to just surrender and trust, and also honor our time, divine time, and also honor our inner compass and guidance, and know that when it's time, we'll know when it's time, or just allow things to unfold. However, we're guided to go along with it, but we have to be present in the spiritual energy to understand. So if we're constantly in our cardinal mind, constantly in our ego, constantly panicking and in anxiety, and have force and an agenda, if things do not flow, it's stagnant, or it's not necessarily stagnant, but the energy is like it's halted. There's no movement. You're frustrated, you're angry, and you're mad at yourself, but it's like that's because you were not in divine order with divine timing. There's always there's always a desire to want something to happen, but it's a difference between I want it to happen, but I accept the fact that it's not time yet. Because if you really look at it, you'll see that you might not be in the place for what you're asking for, what you're trying to manifest. Or if this is about a connection, it may be that what you're asking for, if it's a specific person, and you gotta be careful with the specific person stuff too, because sometimes these people may not be for you. But that's between you and God and the universe. But you cannot force somebody to love you. And that's another lesson that I learned in my singleness, that just because I see and feel all of this does not mean that this person does, and I cannot make him feel the same thing as what I feel. And if it's not a mutual thing, I don't want it. That's where I'm at now. If it's not a mutual energy exchange, if you're not feeling me, I don't have to force you. I want something that is a vibe with me and me vibe with it. I don't even want to force somebody to think I'm the one, or to get them to believe and all that. Like, I'm past that. So again, you don't want that. You don't want to do that. But let's just say if it be that you and a specific person are called to be together, if they're not in the right space, as bad as you would want to be with that person, and you probably, most likely love them unconditionally, that you'll accept them where they are. But at the same time, you got to honor the love for yourself, to say, if you're not in a good space, what good are you going to be in a relationship with me? It'll be just too much. Like, yes, I love you unconditionally, but if you're not healthy for me right now, I love myself not to take that on. Or if this person, that you're not in a good space within yourself, but you want to align yourself with someone else, respectfully, unconditionally loving that person, you wouldn't want to put that burden on that person, if that makes sense. So it just helps to understand where you're at. Take the lessons in this season where you're at in your singlehood. Take the lessons that you've learned and don't beat yourself up for what you did. Like, we only knew what we knew at the time for a reason. Like, we weren't where we were now, and that's okay. So you learn. The more you live life, the more you learn, the more you're evolved in yourself. You understand yourself more. You understand others more. The more you know yourself, the more you'll be able to understand others, because everything is a reflection. Everything. So, yeah, just honor your wisdom rather than dwelling in woe is me, pessimism, sadness, depression. Oh, it's not here. Be at peace to know that what's for you is going to always be yours, and it's going to come to you when it's divinely time to. And no matter what your age is, when it's divinely time for you, like, if you know that that's for you, you got to know that you're deserving of the best. So if you're asking for something divine and something beautiful, something healthy, don't settle until it's there, until it's manifested itself for you. It'll save you so much more heartache than to force and control things. It will, trust me. And yeah, it hurts because you want what you want. You want what you want. You want it now. But love will find you when it's ready. And there's a Bible verse that I don't remember what it is, but it says something, do not awaken love before it's time. And this is a tough one, because sometimes spirit will bring people together that are not necessarily ready to be together. So it's kind of like, okay, it's like a catch-22. That doesn't make sense. But sometimes that will happen. And I feel like that's because divine is working through those people. It's like, okay, well, this is a sneak peek. This is for you. Or we're going to show you, you know, this career, this job is in alignment with you, but we're going to prepare you for that. It may not be time right now for you to have that job or that house or that spouse or whatever. We'll reveal it to you, but we're preparing you for it. So with that in mind, like, don't awaken love before it's time. Don't push something before it's time, to force something to be that it's not ready for, if that makes sense. Everything comes when it's meant to. So, yeah, I channeled that. Like, that was between me and spirit, but I knew that spirit wanted me to share it. I kind of, like, stretched it out because I wrote little paragraphs, but it, you know, when I'm in it, I get more guidance, more information. So that's all I want to say, because, you know, I see it a lot, and I dealt with it too, where there's a lot of codependency and wanting things to happen, manifest, and I've tried it all. I've tried trying to manifest people back into my life, and I've tried, you know, putting myself out there just so somebody could see and realize. And if it's, what are y'all doing to my cat? Why are they messing with Bear? Yeah, it's what I'll say with this whole twin flame stuff, because it's very fanatical. People are just crazy over it and just love it so much. But it really, if you really believe in that type of stuff, it does require work. It does require work. And you gotta be willing to do the work for yourself. It's not so you can get into a relationship with somebody. That's not what it's about. Hardly is it about that. I mean, yes, there's relationships that are cushy and sweet and cozy and loving and stuff like that, but even then, it's because those people are healthy within themselves. We're going to attract things that vibrate with us based off of where we are within ourselves. So you could be someone that is wounded and attract someone to you that's also wounded, and y'all just be in this relationship that doesn't work. But if it's two people that, even in your woundedness, even so, it just depends on what spirit has for you. Because there's circumstances where people have come together that were in some deep dark spaces, but with that relationship they helped each other, they grew together. I see a lot of times people just want to be in a relationship so bad, they'll settle for someone because they want them so bad, and it's not a healthy relationship for them, and they'll sell their soul in their relationship just to have somebody, and it's miserable. they'll keep it going just to say, I got this person, or I have them, I don't want them to have nobody else. And I used to do that too. Like, I stayed in a relationship for years because I didn't want to look like I didn't save my family, or I didn't want to be a single mom. I didn't want anybody else to have that person, even though I knew that we were not good for each other. Even from the beginning, before we had our child, I knew that we were not supposed to be together. But I prayed about it and I tried to make it so, and it just wasn't meant to be. But it's so important to not force something that's not for you, because what's for you is perfectly aligned and divine for you. And it hurts in the moment, because when I think back at the people that I wanted so bad, when I look at it, I'm like, I don't, because I surpassed that energy. I was wounded. I was in that place where I thought I needed or I wanted, and looking at it, those people were not capable of being what I'm asking for now in the season. And some of them are still where they're at. They're still in that energy where they were when I was all into them. And it's like, God spared my life. And I'm sure Spirit did the same for y'all in some situations and connections. So if it's divine, God's hand or the universe's hand is going to be in it. I cannot express that enough. A divine connection is not your ego. You have no control over it. You're not forcing it to be. You're not trying to convince or nothing. Like, it just flows. It just is. Like, you guys vibe. You come together in divine time. It happens miraculously. You don't have to force it. And I don't condone codependency on my channel, and I want to help people past that, because I know a lot of people get caught up in wanting someone or something so bad that they forget about themselves and just exclude their well-being and not see what's going on. And yeah, we need help, and we want to know. We want to know what's going on. We want to ask Spirit, you know, how does this person feel, such and such. But at the end of the day, you have to be healthy within yourself. That's the biggest thing. You got to be healthy within yourself. I'm here to help people. Yes, I will tell you how the person feels, and you know, what's going on in the connection and stuff like that. But I would hope that it enlightens you to go further and deeper within yourself and like see everything for what it is. Because I don't ever want to condone somebody being in a relationship or trying to be in a situation with someone that's not for them. So yes, it's okay. It's okay to pray for love. It's okay to ask or try to affirm and manifest love, or manifest something that you want and stuff, but be open if it's not that, and if it's something better. Yeah. Yeah. Just surrender. Surrender. It's frustrating. I know. Trust me. Trust me. I get it. I get it. It's like sometimes I don't want to do love readings and stuff to you guys. Like, for you guys, I don't want to read under the circumstances I'm in, because sometimes I get frustrated on my journey and I'll be like, fuck this love shit. I don't want to read about this. I'm over it. But I do it when I'm led to, because there's times that I just don't feel in the mood to read for you guys, and I don't want my energy to spill into y'all general readings and stuff, and even y'all personal readings. So I'm just like, let me wait till I'm in a better space before I read. So it's very hard, because majority of my readings are love readings. You guys know that. A lot of my personal client readings are mostly love readings. So I have to check myself at the door before I sit down and do these readings, because it's not always easy, you know. So I go through it too, y'all. These love readings and stuff is just kind of annoying at times. I'm like, I don't want to read about this. This is getting on my nerves. I'm tired of hearing the same stuff. I'm tired of hearing this is going to happen and this is going to come. And I'm sure y'all identify with that, because you guys probably watch readings and you guys hear stuff and you're like, oh, well, where is it? But again, everything's about divine timing. Everything is about patience. Yeah. And again, I wouldn't want anything that's not for me or that's not ready yet, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, it's a part of accountability. Yeah. You're currently watching it. Thank you. It got cut off. There's a part 2. But yeah. So I hope that helps somebody. Hope I didn't talk y'all hope I didn't talk you guys' ears off. Hopefully. But yeah. Hopefully I didn't. And that concludes it. It's buffering because it got cut off midway into the reading. So there's a part 2. I should probably put it in the description box so you guys can find it. Let's see. Part 2. Yeah, I had to do 2 separate lives because my other live got cut off and it wouldn't let me resume where I left off. So I had to start it all over again. But yeah, I hope this helped you guys, you know. Hopefully I didn't talk you guys' ear off. I share my stories, you know, to help y'all and stuff like that. I want you guys to take what resonates with you or what helps you or what already speaks to what's in you, like what already you know, and maybe it's a confirmation or maybe it's expanding upon something that's already there. So it's not to force anything or feed anything down you guys' throat. It's just share. You guys have open minds, you know. So take what you will from it. I appreciate you guys. It's late here. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll talk to you guys soon. Much love as always. Take care.